Hello, everyone. Welcome to Angel Healing House Radio. My name is Claire Candy Huff. Through my business, Angel Healing House, which can be found at angelhealinghouse.com. I'm a writer and an author, an international radio host, a Reiki master teacher, and an angel practitioner. My inspirational books entitled Angels of Faith and One True Home Behind the Veil of Forgetfulness, and my autobiography, I Am an Angelic Walk-In, are based on my recollections of our life in spirit, and they help us to remember our divine, eternal natures. Through Angel Healing House, I help people to let go of sadness, anger, bitterness, resentment, and regret that has kept them locked in the prison of the past, and I help them to let go of worry, stress, and control, which has kept them focused on an imagined future. And once they are no longer living in the past or the future, they can start to live in the present moment, which is the only place that they can experience synchronicities, miracles, and magic. As an angel practitioner, I help people to see their lives from a higher perspective with the help of an extraordinary group of angels who call themselves the Posse of Angels. Just like my angelic family, the Posse of Angels, I'm very excited to take some of your calls for that free angel advice. You can call into the show on 1-800-930-2819. But before we get to those callers, welcome everyone once again to Angel Healing House Radio. And if you're listening in for the first time, a big first-timers welcome to you. I cannot believe that it is almost Halloween. And some would say it's the official start to the holiday season. And while the holiday decorations, along with the greeting card companies, they're hoping to capture the spirit of the holidays and the dollars of many, there are others who absolutely dread the craziness of these upcoming holidays. For instance, there are those who prepare meals, and they have to make sure that their holiday dinners respect everyone's dining choices, including perhaps buying a tofurkey for those vegan relatives, or serving almond and coconut milk cheeses for those who have given up dairy. Then there's trying to decide which holiday cards to send out, finding out if recipients celebrate a Christmas, a Kwanzaa, a Hanukkah, or do they choose to abstain from celebrating at all? We haven't even mentioned the whole gift-giving thing. And my angelic family, the Posse of Angels, they marvel how much humans actually accomplish, even though we have to operate in a physical reality where we are still constantly battling things like time and money. The Posse of Angels, they shake their heads in wonderment as they see us braving shopping malls and holding on to our sanity as we wait in long lines of traffic. We wait in long lines to check out our groceries. We wait in long lines to get our coffees and long lines to buy our holiday gifts and groceries. When we add many of these things to our already full schedule of responsibilities, the chances of things not going as one expects increases exponentially. Sooner or later, things like delayed flights because of snow, caterers serving lamb chops at a vegan holiday dinner, the dry cleaner losing your favorite holiday dress or suit, or any number of a myriad of things that could go wrong now have the increased possibility to go south. With this thought in mind, and always with humor, the Posse of Angels have entitled today's program, The Blessings of life falling apart. Now, the posse of angels is showing me a vision. They're sporting their chef's hats today. They're in the kitchen and they're being inspired to create some new flavors for the holidays. They have all their usual fixings lined up to prepare a sumptuous meal, but they are pointing to some new ingredients. The point that they're trying to make is that if we have the same foods prepared in the same way, with the same taste, then we get the same predictable meal. And don't get them wrong. While there's nothing wrong with predictable, it rarely is exciting, as we have experienced the same taste before and we pretty much know what to expect. They're saying that their little foray in the kitchen and their idea to us of spicing up recipes with new ingredients can be translated to allowing ourselves to experiencing new things in our lives as well. Now, they wish to know why so many humans choose to hold on to the expectation that life has to be predictable. I don't know, perhaps stay the same and never change. They're reminding us that when we as humans were in spirit and we excitedly wrote the contract of our lives in our book of life, we wish to be challenged to expand our experiences and to be tested in order to grow. That's why we wrote certain people into our contracts and certain challenges. Now, for this to happen, things cannot stay the same. And if we do not willingly initiate change, then those things that we have experienced must fall apart in order for the new experience to present itself. This vision of life falling apart brought to mind a card in the tarot deck, which is the tarot card. And it's no wonder that this is one of the most feared cards in the deck. Now, in many traditional tarot decks, the Tower card depicts the ground shaking from an earthquake as the tower tumbles down and people jump off of the tower for their lives. Now, this card is an indication that a person's life is very much and indeed on shaky ground, and that a major change is happening or will be happening in their lives. And strange as it may seem, instead of seeing the Tower card as doom and gloom, I choose to see it as a very good sign. For immediately after something falls apart in our life, God and the angels will send a fortuitous beneficial sign as to what is needed to step forward after this upheaval. After every storm, or after many storms, there are rainbows. The posse of angels is reminding us that in many cases, after things fall apart, our human nature has us staring at what has fallen apart instead of fixing our gaze on the new sign that is being presented to us. Now, many times, this sign shows up as a synchronistic meeting with just the right person at just the right time who provides us with important information. It could be a connection or an opportunity to help us move forward in a brand new way. And when we experience some aspect of our life seemingly falling apart and perhaps not working out as we expected, well, my angelic family, the posse of angels is assuring us that even though it might be very difficult to believe, we have actually unconsciously co-created for this falling apart to happen. We co-created this with God. And the reason we would do such a thing is that our former experience of what we co-created with God before no longer serves for our spiritual journey or physical journey. It has what has fallen apart is past its use by date. Now, it does seem hard to believe when our lives are falling apart that if things did not go south and get worse, that many of us would never ever get the hint to try something new. In many instances, our lives do need to fall apart so that we can experience more of life. We can grow so much larger and brighter than we ever thought possible. How would many of us know our full potential and our greatness if we were not tested in this way? You know, I do remember when my husband Pete and I lived on the heavenly Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, and we decided to take a trip to the States in 2006. When I was standing on the beach in Carmel, California, I heard the voice of God, and God said to me, "When you move to the States, this is the area that you need to move to first." Well, from my experience, when God takes the time from his or her busy schedule to speak to us, it's not meant to invite a discussion or encourage cheerful banter. It's meant solely as a directive on high for one to follow his or her words. Relaying this information to Pete, he replied, "But we're not going to move to the States." And in Pete's defense, why would we have ever considered it? We lived in paradise and a beautiful beach home with the sparkling Pacific Ocean just steps from our back door. My healing practice was hugely successful, and I often joke to Pete that with all the client sessions, my workshops, my attended meditation nights and teaching Reiki, we should have exchanged our front door with a revolving door. After God delivered this very clear message of moving to the States, we returned home to Australia, and we expected life to return to normal, which it did not. After many years of having a busy schedule for my business Angel Healing House, my numbers of clients began to steadily decline. It didn't matter how much I advertised and what specials I offered, the numbers continued to diminish. Meeting with a dear friend who was an international psychic, I asked him what the heck was going on and why this was happening. He took a long sip of his tea and he replied, "Oh, don't worry. The angels are applauding and saying that you have graduated and you are ready to move on. By turning the faucet off on your clients, they're just encouraging you to move to the States for the next part of your journey." Now, synchronistically, it was also around this time that Pete's job was no longer working out. With both of our sources of incomes drying up, we were encouraged. I don't like to use the word forced when it comes to God's suggestions, but we were encouraged to sell our home and move to the States. Were we happy about this? We weren't happy about selling our home, but our hearts were excited about following God's direction. The rewards for us stepping forward after everything seemingly fell apart were life-changing for us. Yes, it opened new doors that presented us with opportunities, people, connections to fill our dreams and our intentions. Now, looking back, I can clearly see that the true blessing to our livelihood disappearing and drying up was that it tested our faith and trust in God's plan for us, not in our limited plan, as to what we thought life had to look like. In addition, it tested our faith and belief in ourselves. Now, the Posse of Angels wishes to remind all of us that when life falls apart, or it doesn't go as you expect, it simply means that you've outgrown your formal lessons and have graduated to be presented with brand new lessons. Imagine the posse of angels and imagine your angels handing you a cap, a gown, and a diploma, for you've graduated beyond your current life, and you're now more than ready to co-create a larger, more expanded world of experiences for yourself. When life falls apart, it means that heaven wishes to open new doors and opportunities for you to experience. You know, when life falls apart, it means that it really does mean that you're strong enough to experience something greater. Now, I can hear lots of your thoughts saying, well, isn't this scary? And the most succinct answer is yes, it's very scary. Will we have to muster up the courage and the bravery? And the posse of angels is saying, without a doubt. But when life falls apart, it's because on some unconscious level, you're ready for it to fall apart and be dismantled, for you have co-created it for it to be so. And you can also, with your free will, think that you're a victim. You can also find fault and blame other things. But the more you accept the responsibility and accountability for what you co-create with that source, that higher source, universe, creator, God, he, she, it, all that is, the more your life will flow with ease and grace. And you will know that you're co-creating this to happen. Now, when life falls apart, it gives us the blessing and the opportunity to get off the couch and force us out of our comfort zone in order to try. This could be try something new or try a new approach to life. It could also be to try our patience, try our faith, try our trust that everything will always work out for our highest good, no matter what it is. And the posse of angels is quick to add that when things do fall apart in our lives, the blessing that comes in with it may not be readily discernible. It just may take a lot of reflection to see the hidden gifts in one's life falling apart that will miraculously open up one's world more than they could have ever possibly imagined. And I've seen countless examples in my angel healing house practice. We just celebrated over 16 years, our 16th anniversary here at Angel Healing House. And I've seen so many examples that are created circumstances when people created circumstances in their lives to be challenged. And this helped them to strengthen and to grow and to experience so much more of life. Years ago, I had a deeply depressed client, and she began to see me after several months, of clearing and cleansing negative beliefs. She chose to see herself now as worthy and deserving of being honored and respected in her marriage. Feeling empowered, she began to lose weight, improve her health, and made greater time in her life for spiritual reflection, and she restored her faith and belief in herself. Now, what she didn't know was that she was preparing and getting ready for her whole world to fall apart. By stepping into this glorious, radiant light of who she is, her energetic frequency began to rise, and that it was no longer in resonance with the energies of her cheating, dishonoring husband, who then left her and her children, her 3 children, for a younger woman. Because of the previous clearing and cleansing that we have done in our many sessions together, I was amazed by this woman's composure, her calm and lack of anger, resentment, and bitterness that so often follows this divorce scenario. Deeply compassionate, and she showed compassion and concern that she had for her husband, who had cheated on her, and it was nothing short of miraculous. Sure, she cried. Who wouldn't? Almost 20 years together, they'd shared memories of birthing beautiful children and sharing a life. But what my client demonstrated was a constant state of equilibrium and grace as legal issues got addressed and all the myriad of loose ends needed to be tied up to complete their divorce. Now, I mentioned to this client that I never saw anyone go through a divorce with such strength, courage, and conviction in themselves. Now, in our last session together, the Posse of Angels showed us both a vision of a large community of women that she would be addressing, with workshops and blogs and even a possible talk radio show. This beautiful client of mine, she had the light of grace, would take all that she learned from her experience of her life falling apart and go on to help many other women love themselves again and respect themselves. Now, in this way, they could learn from her experience in order to perceive it as being a wonderful opportunity to honor themselves and step into a new beginning with sustained faith and belief and grace. Simply amazing. She's become a life coach and is just going from strength to strength and helping other people. The important thing that my angelic family, the Posse of Angels, do want us to know, they wish for us to remember when things fall apart in our lives, is that if we let go of what we expect to come in and we stay present to receive and act upon the signs that God gives us on how to proceed, then we will be given exactly what we need and be the best for our growth and our benefit. So, when I went to my spirit cards, my animal spirit cards, which I often do, to give us additional messages, who should come? Whoop, it's having a peek. Deer came in slowly. Our friend, the sweet deer, is here with us today. She is a wonderful symbol of being kind to ourselves while we move through life with ease and grace, no matter what the circumstances is, because we co-created it to be so. Deer encourages us to have tenderness, not only for others, but for ourselves, tempered with strength and determination, no matter, again, what we are presented with. Deer's gentle, sensitive, and intuitive energies will serve us well to emulate as we navigate an increased busyness in our lives, and especially so as the holidays get closer. And it's a keen ability to change directions quickly can be called upon when things seemingly fall apart in our lives and we need to alter our plans. So when you are faced with things falling apart in your life, perhaps altered schedules, agendas, life in general, just not going to your expected plan, please do remember to connect to your sense of inner gentleness, knowing that things always work out for the best and for your highest good. And if you co-created this to be so, then you can co-create other things with God and the angels as well. You have been listening to me, Claire Candy Hough, on Angel Healing House Radio, which always airs at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Transformation Talk Radio. Before we go to a quick break, I would like to remind everyone of my beautiful books.